Hi everyone, my name is Krishnaveni. I am working as assistant professor in Marri Laxman Institute of Technology and Management. Today I am going to deal a topic about biodiversity and biotic resources from environmental sciences. This is the module 3 in environmental sciences. First we have to know about the definition of the biodiversity. We can see here the meaning of the biodiversity. Bio means life. Diversity means variety, means a variety of living organisms will present around us. Okay, the variety of life. Bio means life. Diversity means variety. A variety of living organisms from starting from single cell organisms to multicellular organisms like humans. Single cell organisms like amoeba, we can see those are the single cell organisms, and the multicellular organisms like animals, human beings. Okay, different type of varieties of the living things will live on earth. This is called the biodiversity. Coming to the definition, biodiversity, the variety of life on earth encompassing the diversity of species, the genetic variation within those species, and the variety of ecosystem they form. See here, the biodiversity is the variety of life on earth. On earth we can see so many varieties of my living things. Okay, they are belonging for different species, and genetic variation will be present in those species, and the variety of ecosystems, they will live in different types of ecosystems. For example, some plants will live in desert conditions like cactus. Some plants will live in waters. They are called the aquatic plants. Okay, like example is the bryophyllum. Okay, these are the different types of the ecosystems because they will adapt to the ecosystems and they will live there. Okay, and it is the total variety of living organisms from microorganisms to large animals and plants, and the ecological processes that sustain them. As I told, the single cellular organisms like microorganisms. Microorganisms means we can see with the help of the microscope only. We can't see with our naked eye. To large animals and plants. Okay, the microorganisms, the single cell organisms, to large multicellular organisms like large animals and plants will form a biodiversity, will all together form a biodiversity, and the ecological process that sustain them. The ecological process like the temperature, okay, the pressure conditions, okay, like that. In these different types of conditions, different types of environmental conditions, how they will sustain, we will see in coming slides. Okay, as I already told, the meaning of biodiversity means bio means life, diversity means variety, variety of life. See here, so many different varieties of the flowers. Some are pink, some are in yellow color. Okay, some are in lavender color, some are in different mixing of colors. Okay, these are all will come under the flowers. We can see, we can say just simply these are flowers, but these are belong to different species and different genetics. Okay, these are all kinds of varieties of flowers. See, what is biodiversity? See here, the plants, okay, the trees, the kitchen crops, okay, the intercropping, these are all the belongs to the plants. Okay, here the in plants we have the food and cash crops. Food, example for food crops, we can say the wheat, rice, okay, and cash crops we can say tobacco. Tobacco is one of the cash crop. Okay, and another type of plants are trees. Trees are bigger than plants. Okay, and intercropping, these are the small plants. Okay, and like kitchen crops. Kitchen crops means the leafy vegetables which we will use in the kitchen. Okay, for eating purpose. Okay, these will all come under the plants. And animals will have different types of animals. These are the cows and buffaloes which give us milk, and these are hens which from which we will get the eggs and meat. Okay, these are the different kinds of birds, and these are different insects. These commonly we will say these are animals and insects. These will also come under the animals section, but different types of animals, different types of birds will live together in different ecosystems. Okay, and coming to the human beings will be sustained in the biodiversity by using the plants and animals. Human beings will correlate with the plants and animals. For example, the human beings will take the food from plants also, and he will take the food from animals also. Okay, these all will come under the biodiversity. Different types of microorganisms to large animals and plants and animals. The human beings also we will call as a social animal. Human being is also one of the social animal. Okay, he will also come under the biodiversity. And next, coming to the types of biodiversity. Biodiversity includes the different types of animals and different types of plants and other species. Okay, different ways in which species interact with the environment. Okay, species live together. First, coming to the types of biodiversity. Biodiversity covers a wide range of concepts and can be examined at different levels. Okay, first is genetic diversity, next species diversity, and third one is the ecosystem diversity. Based on the genetic, species and ecosystem diversity, that biodiversity is divided into three types. We will see one by one. Okay, these are the three components of the biodiversity. Diversity of genes, first type is, and genetic diversity. Okay, when the genes within the same species show different versions due to the new combinations, it is called the genetic variability. We know we have the genes which are reasonable for the different types of the characters in the human beings and plants. Okay, our color, our height, our weight, these are all will depend upon the genetic characters, not only in human beings but also in plants and animals also. Okay, due to these different types of genetic combinations, we will get different characteristics. Okay, see, within the same species also, if the genetic variation is there, they will be in different conditions, show different versions due to new combinations. It is called genetic variation and genetic diversity. For example, here see, these are all, by seeing we say these are all the dogs. Okay, in pictures we can see this is one type of dog called as chihuahuas, and second type is beagles, and third type is the Rottweilers. Okay, these are all the same species. These will come under the same species, but they are not same because there is a variety in their genes. Okay, there is a variety in their genes. See, here this is due to the genetic variation, this color is different. Okay, chihuahuas, the color is somewhat yellow and white. Here, in the second variety, beagles, patches of white color is more and it is brown. Okay, and this is the third variety, Rottweilers. These are all in black color with broad face. Okay, with broad nose. This variations in characteristics is due to the genetic variations, genetic modifications. Okay, due to the genetic modifications in species, these different characteristics will be observed in same species. Okay, and next, second type of diversity is diversity of number of species or species diversity. Second type is species diversity. This is the variability found within the population of a species or between different species of a community. For example, see here, the monkey, dragonflies and meadows are beautiful but are all different species. Okay, the golden skimmer, the Aki monkey and meadows beauty, these will all come under the species diversity. See here another example for species diversity, the number of kind of organisms within a given area. An island with two bird species and one lizard species is more diverse with an island with three bird species. See, for example, if you take in one island, okay, island is a place which is surrounded by the four sides water, or a, okay, or an land, okay, or an area where we can see different types of species. The tortoise, we can see in picture the tortoise, the flowers, okay, the lizards, the frogs, okay, these flowers, these are all the different kinds of species, but they are living in same environment, okay. An island with two bird species and one lizard species more diverse with an island with three bird species. If we can take an island where we can see the different types of the birds, lizards, okay, and flowers, okay, this is called a species diversity. And next, variety of ecosystems or ecosystem diversity. This is the diversity of ecological complexity, showing variations in physical characters, ecological natures, trophic structures, food webs, nutrient cycling. The ecosystem variations with respect to physical parameters include moisture, temperature, altitude, precipitation. Okay, see what is meant by ecosystem. Ecosystem will deal with the physical parameters like moisture, temperature, altitude, and precipitation. Okay, if a pond is there where we can see what is the moisture in that pond and what is the temperature of that water and what is the altitude, at which altitude the pond is present, and what is the precipitation of that water. Okay, like lakes, ponds, and rivers are all the freshwater ecosystems. Okay, these lakes, ponds, and rivers will come under the freshwater ecosystems. In these freshwater ecosystems, some life will be sustainable. For example, like some plants and some fishes, some frogs and crocodiles, which will live in water. These will live in freshwater ecosystem only. And rocky coast, sand dunes, estuaries, salt marsh, coral reef, and all are marine ecosystems. The plants and the animals which will live in the marine ecosystem, they can't sustain in the freshwater ecosystem. Okay, and the plants and animals, the which will sustain in the freshwater ecosystem, they can't sustain in the marine water ecosystem because they are habituated to the freshwater ecosystem, and these are habituated to the marine water ecosystem. Marine means salty. Okay, salty ecosystem. This is the third type of diversity. Diversity of variety of ecosystem. Now coming to the definition of ecosystem. A self-contained community of microorganisms, plants and animals and plants that interact with each other and with their physical environment. See here, this is a rock pool. Okay, here we can see some microorganisms are present, some animals are present, some plants are present. These are the living organisms and the plants which will sustain here. They will adapt to that temperature condition, pressure conditions. Okay, they can't sustain in another pool or in marine water ecosystems. And next to see, this is the physical and chemical description of where a creature lives. Here see, this is a, we can see this is like a desert area. In this desert area, some plants can sustain. These are called the cactus. Okay, they can live without water for so many days. Okay, these are the plants, they can live without water so many days. If we take a plant and we can keep there like a rose plant, it can't live in that physical and chemical temperatures, okay, and different temperatures. Why? Because the temperature conditions are very high here and the water availability also is very less. Okay, due to that, some plants only will adapt to these conditions and they can sustain there, not other plants. All plants cannot sustain in these desert conditions. Okay, and next, the name of the place where the creature lives. See here, the Arctic Canada is the habitat of the polar bear, Mlritm. Okay, we can see the Arctic Canada where the snow is very high. Okay, the cold temperatures will be very less, the temperatures will be very less, and the snowfall will be very high. In that conditions, the polar bears can survive. Why? Because their body structure will be designed like that. The genetic, due to the genetic modifications in their species, they having the thick fur. Okay, see here, white color fur is there, no, they are having the thick fur, and due to the presence of this thick fur, they can survive in the snow atmosphere. They can survive in the snow atmosphere. For example, other animals like we can take there and we can live there. To live means they can survive there. For example, like our horse, okay, like our elephant, we can take and left in the arctic conditions, they cannot survive. Why? Because their body conditions cannot adapt and cannot habitate to that snow conditions. Okay, this is the biodiversity where the polar bear can survive in the snow conditions. And next, see here another example, coniferous forest meeting a meadow. See, ecosystem diversity is all the different habitats, biological communities, and ecological processes, as well as variation within the individual ecosystem. See here, we can see the coniferous forest meeting a meadow. Here the small trees and the big trees we can see, they both are growing in the same environment. It is called a coniferous forest. Okay, meeting a meadow. Meadow means small types of the plants. And next to see here, ocean meeting a beach. Here the ocean, which is in the blue color, and it is a beach. We can see here it is meeting a beach. Like lakes, ponds, and rivers all are freshwater ecosystem, and rocky coast, estuaries, salt marsh, coral reefs are all the marine ecosystems. Okay, these are all the different kinds of the ecosystems, and in these different kinds of ecosystems, different types of the plants and different types of animals can survive. These animals and plants will adopt their body conditions, means the genetic modifications will take place according to the conditions of the environment ecosystem. If the some plants and animals can survive in the cold conditions. Why? Because due to the genetic modifications, the body structure, the plants can survive in that condition. Some plants can survive and animals can survive in the hot climatic conditions. Why? Because due to the genetic modification, genetic diversity, they can survive in the hot conditions without water for so many days. Okay, this is the biodiversity. And reference taken by Conversation on Environmentalism by Robert C. Encyclopedia of Biodiversity by Simon A. This is all for this class. Thank you.